So now we're just checking up on the main block of winter wheat. So this was the winter wheat that I drilled with the 4610 and the Massey 30. Yeah, that went quite nice. This was straight into ploughed work. Quite a cheap establishment using the old 4610, but I'm just sort of having a look round now and you can sort of see what good we've done with the sprayer really is what I'm trying to show off with this. So if you look here, this patch here is actually where the sprayer cuts in and out on your fertiliser nozzles. So we have noticed on the fertiliser, because you've got, when you're doing sprays, the nozzle body shuts off for your chemical directly at the end of the line. Whereas with your fert nozzles, you have a pipe that's probably 6-7 inches long, then you have to fill the dribble bar before you actually get liquid fert coming out. So this is the edge of the headland, if you see what I'm getting at. And then this is as I've turned in, I've lined myself up down the tram line, and this is where the section control has turned on, but it's had a couple of second delay to then let the liquid fert go. This is just showing where we've got a patch that's just a little bit lacking because it's not had the nitrogen it needs. Because you can just see clear as day, yellow shorter, dark green and taller. So that's just quite interesting, but you can also see it further up. There's another slice. If we look this way, you can see the edge of this one, and not so much further along that way. But yeah, there's just a couple of spots along here where you can see the liquid fert just hasn't engaged quick enough. So Dad tells me that you can alter that with the timings we've got, because all of our section control is done with Topcon. The timings of that can be altered, but then you just have to change it again for when you're doing actual nozzles for chemical. So there is a difference, because our Schaefer is actually twin lines. So you've got an A line and a B line. Your B line on our Schaefer is set up to do the fert nozzles, which, like I say, you've got 6, 7, 8 inches of pipe to fill. Then you've got the bars themselves to fill, and that's why there's such a delay. So I just find that a little bit interesting. But then we'll walk up a little bit further, and I think it's worth pointing out as well. We've had nice bit of rain recently, but this silt holding the moisture, as you can see, but it's not soggy all the way through. But yeah, you can see like more in the village where the land's a bit heavier, there are fields which are starting to come really saturated again. I mean, probably the wheeling isn't the best place to take a soil sample for, but you know, you dig in here and there's good moisture content, but it's not over the top. But you can see all these little holes and stuff. That's worm activity. So we've got some really healthy soil again. But looking at the bottom of the wheat, you know, there's a little bit of yellow. I think that's rust. You know, we're now starting to get, I think that's what you call the flag leaf. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. But I think the wheat's getting along quite nicely. We've got a relatively even crop when you get down at eye level, so I think it's doing all right. But back to weed control. Let's have a look down the middle of the rows, because that's always where your weeds sit. We've got some tiny little sprouting leaves, little one again there. Let's move along a little bit more, see if we can find anything else. No, another one of those little broad leaves again. Not really sure what they are. I'm not an expert at all, but just trying to pick out what we're seeing. But I'm not really seeing a lot of black grass. Oh, we have got a brick again. Can't be having them. Put that in my pocket. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of black grass. And of course, when I took on the farm, there was quite a black grass problem to get on top of, and I'm not really seeing anything above the crop either. You know, that would be the trick. About this time of year, you'd start seeing it above. I'm not really seeing it. So we had a set of discs over this to chit it. We had a good kill after that. We then ploughed it. We had another kill on top of the ploughed work, and then we drilled straight into it. So we've had a good couple of kills on blackgrass. But then you turn round and this is a trial plot. So this was with a friend of ours, Emily. She works for one of the big chemical companies, and she was going to do a trial in my field for blackgrass. And you can see we have got heads coming into seed pod, haven't we? So that's going into seed, or it would have been. This was sprayed off last week, so that's why this is looking so yellow. But this has been really interesting, having this little trial area to actually see how bad the weeds could have been. That really shows how valuable a sprayer is nowadays. When you see how many, like, look at that, you've got so many seed heads up this like little hill. Top of this, there's a lot of seed heads. But luckily, they've been hit with Roundup. This patch has been killed off, because that's how this trial works. They're looking for blackgrass, alternative blackgrass controls. But sadly, because there's a bit of a low here, when they wanted to start conducting this trial, this part here, where this is a little bit lower, was flooded out. And you can see there is a section here which just hasn't grown, which to me looks like where the water run through. Because when that was wet over the winter, we did have standing water in sections here and there. So we didn't have a trial here, but it's been really interesting having a trial plot here, so you can actually see how much good you do in the rest of the field. I mean, you look past it, just about there where my finger is, you can see another dead patch, which when me and Dad walked this good couple of weeks ago now, must have been February time, I think. Don't know, have a look back for that video. We were walking through and finding these dead patches where the water had sat, and sadly, this trial plot was on one of those patches, so no trial has happened, but it's shown us what good we've done with the sprayer. Because you turn back and look at everything else, it's a lot cleaner. I won't say perfect. I feel like the yellow at the bottom of a lot of this wheat could have been controlled more. So I'll forward that over to Martin. He's the man in the know. We'll see what may be lacking, because it could be plant stress even. You know, still very new to the chemical side of things, so I'm still trying to work that out, you know. But yeah, I think it's just interesting. You can see all this detail about what you have done through this season with the sprayer. Like I said, with the fertilizer cutting in and out, that's something that we can improve upon. And the trial plot just shows you how much good we've done. So we better go have a look at something else. This is a little bit what I was talking about earlier. I am now in the winter barley field, so drilled within a couple of weeks of each other. And this is more into the village. This is right next to the Belmont yard. And the soil's just that much heavier. Look at that, holding that moisture. That's a wet mud, that is. That is more of a mud than what the silt was. So, just interesting just looking at little bits and pieces. But yeah, that is the first time I've properly walked in it. I've been driving past it in the past week, and I could see that we were coming into here, but now actually holding the ears in my hand, that is making me think, oh god, harvest is very close. And as Dad keeps reminding me, ear to shear, 6 weeks. So he'll be watching this and laughing, because I hate it when he's right. If you look, the daffodils still fairly green, still soaking up the energy, but in probably 2 to 3 weeks time they'll be going back to brown, and we shall probably be looking to lift them. The rest of the fields we'll have to roll them, seal them down so that they don't get infected with fly. So the rolling was something we tried last year, worked quite well, so we're going to try it again this year, because there has been a big notice in fly. You know, flies normally is what kills off daffodils for us. You know, you get infested really. We've written off varieties because of fly, because they can, for some reason, tell the difference in variety. We've lost huge amounts of California before to it, where they just bury into it and keep into that one variety. But yeah, we'll stick to the rolling and see how we get on again this year. But this lot was rolled, and you can see the difference.